I've been to Washington Square Park many times. It's located in the Village, downtown Manhattan, around NYU. I did not know the history of it, that the park is built on a former burial ground. Mainly poor people were buried there. One of the people buried there was a 19-year-old, and she was an enslaved woman. Her name was Rose Butler. During about 1789, there was a law that was made in New York for the gradual abolition of slavery, and many people were against it. So they found ways to work around the law. One of the parts of the law is that after that point, anyone that was born was no longer a slave. They would be an indentured servant, and that means if they're female at 25, they would be freed, and if they were male at 28. Well, Rose was born 10 years after that law, but she was kept as a slave and she was sold from one house to the next. Rose gets to the final house before she dies, and this one is William Morris. And within a short time, nearly a year and a half of being there, Rose would set the house on fire and attempt to kill the family inside the house. And when Rose goes to trial, she does not deny doing that. She admits to doing it, and she says she was aided by others. But somehow they were not able to find them, and I believe that Rose somehow concealed their identity. There are many things that came to my mind. I wondered why she did it. Like some popular things that happened in slavery is that, well, the master would try to rape someone. She's 19 years old at the prime of her life, so that could be something. But not far away in a place, 5 minutes walk, and you'll see me walk down there, Minetta. It's now Minetta Street. But that used to be a place called Little Africa where free blacks lived. So I also imagine that perhaps Rose had a very attractive chocolate colored young man that she liked that was free, and she wanted to be free, which was her right. Like, I remember being 19. Freedom is what 19-year-olds crave. So I don't know why she did it, but that says a lot to us about, one, that enslaved people were normal human beings with their own desires, and they responded to enslavement in many different ways. Also, the fact that slavery was not a vacation, it was not a nice time. People hated it enough to want to burn people up in their sleep. She was unsuccessful. The fire only burned the steps in the kitchen. However, she was still executed, and part of the rationale is that fire is a big deal because, as you know, in New York the houses are packed together. So burn one house, the fire would spread. But we know it's more than that. That was very uppity of Rose. She wanted to end slavery by killing the master, and they would not have that. So a lot of times people want us to engage in these discussions, whether it's morally right to kill an enslaver. My opinion is that when you enslave a person, you put them in imminent risk of harm, and anything they do to resist you is self-defense. And when there's a judgment day, whatever they did to free themselves from you, it will be on your account and not their account. And when you punish them, that will also be on your account because you should not have been enslaving anyone. So my concern is not whether what Rose at her attempt to kill was good or bad. If she was not being enslaved, she would not have had a reason to do that. My concern is that when the case went to trial, no one pointed out the fact that she was being wrongfully sold as a slave against New York laws. That was not addressed. That was overlooked, and all they did was charge her and the Supreme Court would decide her sentence, whether it would be a lesser sentence or whether it would be execution. Now, in all just society, we all know that you get a lesser punishment if you do not succeed or complete your crime. An attempted crime is usually a lesser charge, but not so. They wanted to send a message. They publicly lynched her so as to deter other black people to not behave in that manner towards the white people that were enslaving her. So you see me now walking down to Little Africa. So what is instructive about this? I'm not suggesting going out and committing arson. To what I'm suggesting is what the story I get from the story is. Always remember where you are, that there are two systems of law, one that applies to people of light complexion, white complexion, and to the rest of us to varying degrees. No one was concerned about the crime being committed by the white people against Rose, but then they gave Rose the harshest sentence. No one is concerned about a president that has 34 felonies, but are concerned about other minutiae, about other people who have attempted to be president. No one is concerned about all the other people that might have participated in Diddy's baby oil debacle. The focus is on him, and he's the only one that's going to jail. So I guess the essence of it is always remember to stay woke, to stay aware of your surroundings, to stay in a mode of there are two different rules. It's not fair, but it is what it is. And a part of thriving is that you have to stay alive to thrive. You have to be breathing. So you should always be mindful of not getting into situations that would prematurely end your life. I felt really sad because there's the grave, she's buried in the park, and right around her are schools with 19-year-olds, and Rose should have been one of those people who would have a life like those young people that walk on her grave have, but she didn't because of the color of her skin. So I hope this was helpful. You can like, you can subscribe, you can dislike, you can give a comment. Stay woke, stay safe.